I just moved into a new place, and so I figured that this would be the perfect time to do a ground up carnivore grocery haul. So I'm gonna take you through my meals, snacks, seasonings, drinks, what I cook with. I have about 10 staples, and then I'm gonna show you a few things that aren't technically carnivore, but I still choose to include them in my diet on a semi-regular basis. If you're new here, my name is Marcus. I've lost over 60 pounds, and I've been helping busy folks lose fat and get healthy for over 13 years now. Let's get into it. Steak is a staple in my diet, and I've been eating a lot of blade steaks recently, which I think are called chuck in the US. I'm in Canada at the moment. Or I'll reach for something like a T-bone or a ribeye. Those are my three go-tos, just depending on what is available, price, etc. I also eat a ton of frozen burgers. They are so convenient to make in the air fryer in like 10 minutes. I much prefer the taste of these guys, not necessarily because they say grass-fed on the front, but because they have more fat in them. And especially when you're doing burgers in the air fryer, the fattier the better, because I've found that the leaner ones are more prone to drying out. Ground beef is another mainstay, and sometimes I'll make burgers out of this if I'm feeling ambitious. Now, if I'm feeling saucy, I'll add some cheese with this, but I've found that I don't feel quite as good if I'm eating cheese regularly, so it's more of a here and there thing. Now, I like salmon, but I love trout. It's typically a little bit fattier, and I can put this in the oven at 425 for 20 to 30 minutes when it's defrosted, and it's done. It's quick, it's easy, and I find that it's a great way to mix in some variety from time to time. Eggs need no explanation. I rarely ever have a meal of just eggs because I have to eat like a dozen or more just to feel satisfied. And so usually I'll have these alongside another protein. So maybe I'll do a scramble with some leftover trout or ground beef, or just toss in some other protein option. I also love dipping my steak into a sunny side up egg. It is so delicious, as I'm sure you know. Like eggs, I do not have shrimp or prawns as a standalone meal simply because they are too lean. And so I'll often pair them with a fattier protein option. They're sort of like a supplement in the sense that if I don't have enough red meat, let's say, I'll toss in some shrimp or prawns just to make up the difference. Now, I go with these pre-cooked guys purely for convenience because all you've got to do is put them in some water for 5 and they're ready to eat. My snack list is short simply because I eat 2 meals per day and I prefer for those meals to be larger and more satisfying versus smaller and then snacking throughout the day. If I do end up snacking on something, it'll typically be leftovers, or maybe I'll fry up a few eggs really quickly and nibble on those. I used to get that pre-cooked bacon from Costco and munch on that as a snack here and there, but I've found that eating too much bacon can give me histamine related issues, and so I've stopped buying it. And if I do have bacon, it's typically at a restaurant if I go out to eat or something like that. Tallow is the only thing that I'm cooking with these days, and I got this 4 pound tub off of Amazon. Now, if you do decide to pick this stuff up, just know that it does not taste nearly as good as the rendered fat that you get off of a slow cooked piece of beef. But it does the trick if you're looking to cook some eggs or pan fry a steak, let's say. I am basic when it comes to seasonings. I love salt and occasionally some pepper. That is pretty much it. I avoid garlic and onion like the plague because it bloats me like crazy. But I don't just like any salt. These are my two favorites from Maldon. They are flaked. This is the smoked salt. This is the regular salt. And I love the texture of both of these. And I just find that high quality salt adds so much to a meal. I drink a cup or two of coffee daily and I have no interest in giving it up. I drink it black, and occasionally on a weekend, I might live on the edge and add some milk or cream. I drink these Zevias almost every single day, and personally, I am not worried about some added stevia or natural flavors. If you are, or if something sweet tasting like this tends to ramp up cravings for you, then you should probably skip it. For me, this is just something that I enjoy and it doesn't impact me negatively in any way, shape, or form. This is my favorite coconut milk, and most importantly, it only has two ingredients, which are coconut and water. If it has guar gum, polysorbate 60, or other emulsifiers, it's a hard pass for me. Now, I've been doing a carnivore-ish diet for over 8 months now, and I've flowed between adding some carbohydrates and then having none at all. So most days are zero carb, and then I'll have some other days here and there where I toss in some carbohydrate, primarily from 3 to 4 sources. The first one is fruit, and I don't have any of it in my house right now because if I want it, I'll just pick it up that day. So sometimes I'll have it with some Greek yogurt, or I'll put some fresh fruit in a bowl and pour coconut milk over top of it. But there are two things that I stay super aware of in terms of fruit, and those are oxalates and FODMAPs. I don't do well with either, and so I'll almost always reach for a low oxalate fruit. And if I do have a higher FODMAP option, I'll really scale back the portion. Now, I'm Canadian and I love maple syrup, so sometimes I'll put this on top of yogurt. It is an amazing combination. However, I am really mindful with it because the yogurt and maple syrup combination is really hyper palatable for me, and I can easily overdo it. I'll occasionally have some honey, but I don't eat very much of it because of what I just mentioned about FODMAPs. Honey is very high FODMAP, and so if I'm reaching for a natural sweetener of some sort, it's typically maple syrup. The last carb source that I include is white rice. I digest it really well, and I'll have it if I go for sushi, or I'll cook it at home if I have a long run plan. I'm talking 15 miles or more. I'll typically have a generous serving of white rice the night before I go for a long run, which is usually on Saturday mornings. Especially because I like to run fasted, and I find when I'm covering that much distance, I do a lot better with some starchy carbohydrate in the mix. I'm curious though, which of these foods is on your grocery list regularly? Feel free to thumbs up, subscribe, and if you have any questions, you can post them in the comments below.